This program is dedicated to the man known as Hermes Trismegistus or Thoth, the divinely inspired royal blood who lived in Egypt and taught to every races how to harness the power of their thoughts and their desires in the image of God and not slaves. Your mind will be forever with you.
Welcome
to the Third Eye Media channel. Christ in his first incarnation chose to incarnate within the bloodline of the Shining Ones. This ancient bloodline is now diluted and spread all around the world. Other species of Shining Ones also came later on. We can still hear regularly accounts of angel abductions in our modern times. There exists covenants among angels and other forms of higher consciousnesses that most of mankind is not aware of, but that you shall learn through me and other teachers. 1. We have the evidences. 2. We have the testimonies. 3. We have the eyewitnesses. 4. We have the security team. This is a new age of information. Angels, the enlightened voices of the universal God. It is my understanding that there exists a hierarchy of beings in the cosmos, some being more evolved than others. It is my understanding that the most evolved beings in the cosmos live in the aim of fulfilling the will of the God creator of all. They have the knowledge, the experience, and the means of communication with the creator of all. Some of these beings are the divine agents, which in some instances human have been calling angels and archangels. These angels and archangels have spoken. On behalf of God, they have spoken the will of God, they have spoken the words of God. The same way Christ shall speak the word of God and shall sit on the throne of God as described in the Bible. In the scriptures, the word angel found numerous times simply means messenger, and this word can either refer to a heavenly entity who delivers a message from God or a human messenger. Example 1, in Genesis 16 verses 7 to 14. The angel of the Lord appears to Hagar. The angel speaks as God himself in the first person, and in verse 13 Hagar identifies the Lord that spoke to her as the God who sees. Example 2, in Genesis 22 verses 11 to 15. The angel of the Lord appears to Abraham, and in the 12th verse he refers to himself as God in the first person. Example 3, in Exodus 3 verses 2 to 4. The angel of the Lord appears to Moses in a flame in verse 2, and God speaks to Moses from the flame in verse 4. Both instances referring to himself in the first person, the text seemingly conflates the two as one. Example 4, in Numbers 22:22-38. The angel of the Lord meets the prophet Balaam on the road. In verse 35, the angel asked Balaam to only speak the words that he himself puts in Balaam's mouth. In verse 38, Balaam identifies the angel who spoke through his mouth as God. Example 5, in Judges 2 verses 1 to 3. The angel of the Lord appears to Israel and speaks identifying himself as God. Example 6, in Judges 6 verses 11 to 23. The angel of the Lord appears to Gideon, and in verse 22 Gideon fears for his life because he has seen the angel of the Lord face to face, which is similar to when others in the Tanakh, Old Testament, fear they will die because they have seen God. Example 7, in Judges 13 verses 3 to 22. The angel of the Lord appears to Manoah and his wife, and, in verse 16, he tells them to offer to the Lord if they are to make an offering. Later Manoah thought he and his wife will die for they have seen God. The list of examples is long. What matters is your understanding of the cosmic hierarchy, your understanding of the closeness of the angels with the creative source of the universe called God. Your understanding that the angels have spoken for God in the past. You shall know the nature of your Savior. You shall know your different faction of angels, demons, and archangels. You shall know that all of us, we are real and alive both on this planet and in the heavens. Hopefully you shall meet some angels and archangels very soon.
All right, moving on, break out the theremin because this next story is just begging for a spooky sci-fi background. After 30 years at the helm of the Israeli space security program, and after receiving 3 Israeli security awards, retired Israeli general and respected professor Chaim Eshed is now unveiling that yes, there are aliens among us, yes, Israel has made contact with them, and no, humanity is not ready for them. Also, before you start doubting his words, the 87-year-old Eshed was clear in his recent interview with Yediot Ahronot News that he's not talking about immigration, but rather about a galactic federation complete with an underground base on Mars, where there are American and alien representatives apparently present. He also explains that President Trump both knows about them and was on the verge of disclosing their existence, only to be persuaded not to by the Federation, in order to avoid mass hysteria and panic here on Earth. Apparently, humanity just still has a long way to grow before we can understand the gravity of their presence. The final question, however, is what do they want? But perhaps thankfully for us, Eshed says that it's essentially just to research and understand the fabric of the universe.
Christ is here, so I say, God has decided that everyone is ready for the truth. Let the monkeys be monkeys. Let the humans be humans. Revelation 22 verses 10 to 11. Then he told me, do not seal up the words of the prophecy of this scroll, because the time is near. Let the one who does wrong continue to do wrong. Let the vile person continue to be vile. Let the one who does right continue to do right. And let the holy person continue to be holy. I sound the shofar, we won't sideline this matter anymore. If you don't obey, you will see God's wrath.
Mars, a cold, lifeless place, yet just a few meters beneath the surface, a secret underground base hums with activity. American astronauts walk the hallways of this secret base, talking and exchanging research notes with aliens from another planet. This might sound like the opening to a fantasy novel, but according to one of the most credible individuals in the world, it's our present-day reality. Dr. Chaim Eshed is not a backwoods country bumpkin talking about strange lights in the sky and little green men putting probes where the sun doesn't shine. He's one of the most respected men in Israel and America both. A former general in the Israeli military, he's also the co-founder of Israel's space agency and considered a national hero for his efforts to launch Israel into the space age. More on that, he's a professor of aeronautics and astronautics and a member of the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics. As far as credentials go, short of being president, he can't get any better. And he has one message for the world. Revealed in a shocking interview in early December 2020, aliens are real and the American and Israeli governments are cooperating with them. According to Dr. Eshed, aliens representing a galactic federation of like-minded species have made contact with at least 2 governments on Earth, the Israeli and American governments. At this time, it's unknown if other governments are involved and that it's likely Israel's involvement is due to American cooperation, which would mean the other close U.S. allies such as Britain and France are also likely aware of the existence of these extraterrestrials. Don't worry, these aliens aren't here to eat your brains. Instead, they're curious about humanity and awaiting a time when humanity is mature enough to join their galactic federation of allied species who share the ultimate goal of understanding the universe. Well, admittedly, that's exactly what brain-eating space aliens would want you to believe. But according to Dr. Eshed, their intentions are so far peaceful. In fact, cooperation agreements have already been signed between the US and these aliens, resulting in a research laboratory on Mars itself where American astronauts work side by side with extraterrestrials. Current President Donald Trump, as of this writing, not only knows about the existence of these aliens, he nearly revealed their existence publicly but was warned not to due to concerns over mass hysteria. Surprisingly, if Dr. Eshed's claims are true, it's the one piece of advice Donald Trump seems to have listened to. So, wait, is this for real? Let's explore the reasons why this claim is likely a fabrication and why it might actually be real. As you'll soon see, Dr. Eshed is far from the only high-level, credible individual to have come out making a startlingly similar claim. First, let's investigate why this claim is likely false. Dr. Chaim Eshed is certainly a credible witness as far as qualifications go, yet he is currently selling a book dedicated at least in part to his claims of extraterrestrial contact. That can't help but cast aspirations on his claim of space aliens, As the old saying goes, it can be hard to trust a man with a book to sell. In both the United States and Israel, though, there's another saying amongst the intelligence communities responsible for both protecting each nation's highest national secrets and discovering those of the enemies. And that saying is that aliens make great cover stories. A US CIA agent once famously said, "I love UFO stories because as long as people look up into the sky and see something weird and they're thinking alien spacecraft, they're not thinking secret US plane." This idea is pretty sound. And the fact is that it now has been proven that many UFO sightings over the years have in fact been sightings of aircrafts such as the American F-117 stealth fighter, the B-2 stealth bomber, and specially modified Black Hawk helicopters used by Special Operations Forces, especially true when those aircraft are still in their secret design and testing phases and not quite yet public knowledge. The simple truth is that aliens make for a great cover story for secret government programs, and that leads us back to Dr. Haim Eshed. Dr. Eshed has a career in Israeli military, attaining the rank of general. He also helped found the Israeli space program, a vital element of the Israeli intelligence apparatus, as it was largely geared toward establishing a space-based military and surveillance infrastructure. For a country with as many enemies as Israel, a robust space capability is of the utmost importance. While Dr. Eshed may not have been directly employed by Israel's intelligence agencies, he was no doubt heavily in support of them in his duties with Israel's space agency. Given the extremely crafty nature of Israeli intelligence operations, amongst the most legendary in the world, it's not at all unbelievable that Dr. Haim Eshed is merely fulfilling one final task on behalf of the American and Israeli intelligence services: disseminating disinformation to act as a cover story for current and future secret programs. As he has himself stated publicly, he's 87 years old and no longer cares about his reputation. The claims of human-alien cooperation are also dubious at best. According to Dr. Eshed, American astronauts work side by side with aliens in a secret base on Mars, conducting research together. If an alien species is intelligent enough to cross the galaxy and get to us in a timely fashion, then what possible use are humans to them in conducting research? Even their calculators would be smarter than us. Having humans assist spacefaring aliens in research would be like inviting a wild chimpanzee into a research lab to help develop a COVID vaccine. Given humanity's behavior throughout 2020, both scenarios would likely involve equal amounts of poop throwing. But what if the claims are real? Well, there might be quite a lot of factors proving Dr. Eshed's story is actually true. First, we have Dr. Haim Eshed himself, a career military professional, co-founder of a space agency, respected academic, and no history of mental illness or delusions. He served with the Israeli space program for nearly 30 years, receiving the Israeli Defense Award 3 times, twice for technological inventions that remain classified to this day. The doctor is clearly intelligent and possesses a high amount of integrity. Nobody lasts as long as he has in high-security clearance work without impeccable integrity. In short, if anyone was gonna leak the news that aliens are real, then Dr. Eshed is quite literally the perfect, most trustworthy candidate to do so. The only possible way this announcement could have been more believable is if the claim was made by a serving head of state themselves in an official capacity. What we have here is one step short of the perfect witness, which makes it curious that his claims are so easily dismissed. Ask yourself the question, who would you believe if not a man of Dr. Eshed's qualifications? But Dr. Eshed isn't alone in his belief of extraterrestrials. In a 2014 interview with Jimmy Kimmel, former President Bill Clinton said that he wouldn't be surprised if aliens visited the Earth. However, he denied knowledge of actual aliens recovered from Roswell or being held in Area 51. He's hardly the only member of his administration with a belief in aliens, though, with John Podesta, President Clinton's former chief of staff, making his belief in visiting extraterrestrials very public. But much as his former boss, stopping short of confirming any knowledge in government involvement. Two of the most shocking claims of aliens visiting Earth, however, come from political leaders in Canada and Russia. In 1997, Kirsan Ilumzhinov, head of the Russian-controlled Republic of Kalmykia, said that he was shocked to discover a hovering UFO right outside his balcony. The aliens flew Ilumzhinov to space and showed him the truth about UFOs. His claims prompted a bit of political panic in Russia, with some questioning his fitness to remain in office, though curiously some of Russia's Duma members were concerned with the potential leaking of classified state secrets to alien beings, and asked for a direction on how to properly respond if approached by extraterrestrials. Perhaps even more shocking, though, might be the revelation of one of Canada's former defense ministers. Until today, the highest-ranked state official to reveal the potential existence of alien life on Earth. Serving from 1963 to 67 as a defense minister for America's polite top hat, Paul Hellyer shocked the world during a speech at the University of Calgary. Mr. Hellyer claims that aliens have been visiting Earth for thousands of years and perhaps unsurprisingly don't seem particularly impressed with humanity. According to him, the aliens' chief critique of humanity is that we spend entirely too much time fighting each other, spend too much money on our militaries, and not enough on feeding the poor and helping sick people. According to Hellyer, aliens even walk amongst us, with up to 80 different species visiting the Earth, and some looking so human that we don't even notice. The good news is that most of the aliens seem to be benevolent and concerned over our previous use of nuclear weapons and that we might use them again in the future. Generally concerned over humanity's future, the aliens are waiting for humanity to mature before sharing advanced technology with us. However, several species have outright hostile intentions that we need to be wary of, though he declined to share any specifics on those evil aliens. Both of our previous figures have been painted as crackpots in the media, but our next witness is a real American hero and one of the few men to ever set foot on another heavenly body, with man-made technology anyway. Astronaut Edgar D. Mitchell is famous for landing on the moon and helping save the lives of all aboard the Apollo 14 mission as it descended to the moon's surface. However, in recent years, he's also come out with claims that aliens are not just real, but actively involved in monitoring mankind. Unlike other leakers, Mitchell, however, stopped short of claiming close cooperation between aliens and world governments, and has never claimed to have met one himself. Instead, Mitchell claims that his experience in both the US Air Force and NASA put him in contact with many individuals all telling the same story. UFOs have been closely monitoring humanity, and especially its nuclear weapons. In fact, he believes that their goal has been to avert a nuclear war between the US and Russia, or then the Soviet Union. Mitchell's claims aren't solitary either. Over the years, dozens of nuclear facility and nuclear missile silo security, maintenance, and launch personnel have come forward, all claiming to have witnessed UFOs over nuclear facilities and at times even shutting down nuclear missiles. In fact, the writer and researcher of this episode, having been former military and with a high security clearance, can confirm multiple sightings of UFOs over a nuclear facility, though has to stress that these were true UFOs, as in unidentified flying objects, not necessarily of an alien origin, simply unknown. Something seems to be out there, but whether it's alien or not remains undecided. Certainly evidence is mounting, however, that somebody on Earth is flying craft with unusual flight characteristics, as shown in now multiple videos declassified by the US Navy of their aircraft in pursuit of UFOs. But if these craft are truly alien or not remains unknown, though perhaps Dr. Jaime Shed has had the answer all along. The true mystery, however, might be why a man with such impeccable credentials as Dr. Shed is willing to risk his reputation on such outlandish claims.
Were your grandparents ready when the angels descended and lived among them? Remember who you serve, not your pockets. The project of disclosure is written in the Bible. You shall see his face. Revelation 18 verse 1. After this I saw another angel coming down from heaven. He had great authority, and the earth was illuminated by his splendor.